by a guy who's now made it 100% of the guys that I've talked to that do this for a living. Kevin Gray, how are you, man?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
Getting ready for your first pro MMA fight coming up in Kearney on March 30th, and you are now, it is official, it's 100%. I have yet to talk to any mixed martial artist that isn't incredibly nice. You think about what you guys do for a living, I just picture somebody coming in like, what? And it's never that.
It makes you humble, that's for sure.
Is that true?
Yes.
I guess that's something that I never thought of that angle, because obviously when you are a mixed martial artist, it's not necessarily like boxing where you can go on a crazy run for a year, 2, 3 years, and be Floyd Mayweather and just turn into a complete jerk because somebody out there will get you.
Yep. Someone's always better than you, so better not go in there cocky, because you never know when you'll get knocked out, wake up, the doctor in front of you. So.
You know, that's never a good feeling. We were talking a little bit off air. I mean, how do you end up getting into this kind of thing? Because you know, everybody's probably been in bar fracases and whatnot. I mean, it's not the same thing, but at the same time, you have to carry that mindset where, like, I might take one here.
Exactly. And, you know, being a college wrestler, you know, that was the only thing for wrestlers that weren't good enough to go at that Olympic level. And they did pro wrestling for a while, but, you know, not enough money in that organization, so they had to shut that down. So mixed martial arts is the closest thing that we can do that is got that competitive drive to go on and keep your career going. So,
do you like punching people?
You know, I do.
I mean,
I feel bad, but at the same time, you know, it's either him or you. So, you know, you either punch him or get punched even harder. So, I like it.
See, that was a weird thing. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu and a little bit of Thai boxing, and the guy that I was training with was insanely into it. I mean, he was a ninja, and I ended up doing, it was just it was some floor exercise, and it's the first time live action. And the guy that I was matched up against, I broke his hand.
Oh, no.
And I felt horrible. And that's the strangest thing. You think
so
you get in there and you're punching the crap out of a bag, and you're I'm just going to be this maniac. And then you actually hurt someone.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, man. What do you, does Hallmark make a card for that? Like,
not yet.
Sorry I beat you up. And that's not in the repertoire. You know, I am curious, with you being a collegiate wrestler there at Dana College, and if you're just tuning in, Kevin Gray joining us here in studio, are there, for lack of a better term, are there scouts from the local promotions? Are there guys from the mixed martial arts world that are staying close to wrestling programs that are scouting talent or in your ear at all?
Not as much. I think it's getting more like that, because you got guys like Rashad Evans, Phil Davis, you know, Benson Henderson, all collegiate wrestlers, and they're doing amazing UFC, so they're going back to their old colleges, you know, getting people that are really good at wrestling are kind of interested. So I think it's picking up, but from when I graduated, there really wasn't. So we had to kind of go out and search for a gym to get into it. So
knowing a little bit about wrestling, only a little, I never actually did it. It's got to be, do you think that it's harder to learn wrestling if you were a striker or somebody that was skilled that way than it is to learn striking as a wrestler? Because it seems to me that wrestling is a far more complicated end of the discipline.
It is, and you know, that's a tough question, because, you know, you got wrestlers, you know, as soon as they get in the cage, you know, as much as you practice, hit that heavy bag, your first instinct, you get pops. You're going to shoot for that takedown. But, you know, guys from the gym that are learning wrestling, it's kind of hard for them because they're not used to being in scramble positions like that, know what to do for defensive. So it's a call, but I think it'd be tougher for a boxer to learn wrestling opposed to a wrestling learning boxing. So
what's the evolution in that? I mean, in training yourself to think differently. I mean, it's completely different speed than wrestling in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
More activity in your brain. It at least seems like just watching it. How do you? Is there as much mental work to it as it is physical?
It is. It's definitely a lot of mental game, because, you know, as hard as you train, practice, you got to think, you know, I gotta beat this guy. You got to stay mentally tough, because if you have a little bit of doubt in your head, you're probably going to lose that fight. So
your card in Kearney, Houston Alexander is going to be on that card as well. And there's some other guys from Omaha, Jake Ellenberger and Jason Brills, who you know have made their way into the UFC or been on the verge or been in and out, whatever it may be. I mean, do you get to connect with those guys? Is it a close circle of guys in a community like that?
It kind of is, and you know, you got those guys that'll go around to different gyms, like just a couple weeks ago, Joe and Jake Ellenberger. Jake just came off a huge win, so he'll probably be fighting for the title here before too long. But he came to our gym, worked out with us. Those guys are really neat guys. They're looking to help each other out, put Omaha on the map, really. And we actually got a couple guys, Dakota Cochran and Drew Dober, that they're going to the Ultimate Fighter show, season 15. So it's really, really big. Omaha's finally, we got a lot of tough fighters, but it's finally getting put on the map that we have them.
And I know people like to, throw their friends out there. I mean, who you working with in town here? There's a lot of good camps that guys have obviously developed some pretty good skills with here in town. Who are you working with?
Right now, ATC, it's Augusto Training Center. But that gym brings in a lot of guys from like Premier Combat, McDoyle's. So we're getting help from everywhere. So, Omaha, as much as we want to be the best in Omaha, it's about helping each other and getting on that national level as opposed to just being the best in your town or whatnot. So,
talking to Kevin Gray here in studio, getting ready for his pro debut on March 30th, part of RFA in Kearney coming up. Houston Alexander main eventing that card. And, speaking of that training, you were just in San Diego with some of the UFC crew.
Yes.
How different was that once obviously you've got your thing going here, in Omaha. When you go out there and see how they do it in Southern California, was it a country mouse goes to the city moment, or was it just a new gym, different beach?
They definitely get after it out there. I thought I was going to get my butt kicked, honestly. I was prepared for it, but, I hung in there. But those guys, they get after it. They wake up, do a 6 a.m. workout, sprint workout, turn around, take a little break, come back at 10:30, do a 2.5-hour practice, then take a break, come back 6 o'clock at night and do another practice. So they're hitting it 3 days. And all the guys, they were there the whole week I was, in and out. So they were getting three practices a day as well. So they really get after it. I don't know what they do for money other than fight, but they definitely don't have families they have to support because they're in the gym a lot. So
well, and that was in that recent I can't remember the name of the ESPN documentary. They went in and they examined the money.
Yeah.
And some of these main, these primary names, guys like Forrest Griffin and whatnot, are making an okay living.
Yeah.
Just fighting, supporting themselves just through that. So is that ultimately the goal for you? Do you want to be on a UFC card?
That would be nice. I would love to get on a UFC card, and they just actually added one of my weights, 125. I fight at 125, 135. They just added that to the UFC. Actually, tonight is the debut for the 125-pound class. So I believe I can get on there, and that'll definitely help get a little cash and help me with my final goals.
You're listed. I was reading you're 5'4". Is that the average size for guys in your class?
Yes, I'd say about 5'5". Sometimes you get those tall, slender guys that will just put a triangle choke on you. They got long legs, long arms, but for the most part, they're about my size.
Is it a tremendous disadvantage when you get a beanpole out there?
I like fighting those skinny guys because I don't got to worry about waking up with the doctor in front of me. So I don't mind fighting those guys, but those guys do. They definitely are good with their jiu-jitsu and whatnot. So.
And if you had to isolate one guy, who's the baddest man on the planet right now?
On the planet.
In mixed martial arts, who's the guy you look at like that's the dude right now?
I think that'd have to be George St. Pierre. He's just a phenomenal athlete, 170-pound weight class, and he fights like he's my size. So he's a phenomenal athlete, so it's pretty good to watch.
JSP is a good call.
Yeah.
I give him one demerit because he's French Canadian, but I can't hold that against him because he punched a hole through me.
Exactly.
John Jones is still the guy that I watch. When I see him, I'm like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, and he's gonna be tough. He's young. I think he's only 24 or whatnot.
Right.
But he's just a phenomenal athlete, learning every day. He was actually a JUCO All-American wrestler, so those wrestlers they're coming in and trying to take over the sport, which is exciting.
Y'all are a different breed, man.
Yes.
Kevin Gray getting ready for his pro debut in Kearney coming up on March 30th, along with Houston Alexander, someone who's been in this studio with us before. Kevin, thanks for taking the time, and good luck, man.
Thank you. And I actually brought some guest passes for you guys so you can come out to my gym, Better Bodies, see how train you guys, kind of like fighters, but hit some weights, nothing too serious.
Just teach me how to feel when I'm looking up at the doctor standing over me. Just teach me that, I'll be good.
Well, I don't know that feeling yet, so hopefully I won't be able to teach you that.
Thanks for the time, Kev.
Thank you, guys.
AM 59.